All right, welcome back. Proverbs 5, let's take a look. So in Proverbs 5, we have another father-son discourse. And for any ladies out there that have been watching these videos, just know that you can pluck out father-son and you can put in mother-daughter there. All of this advice, all of this wisdom, all of these proverbs, these are for men and women alike. So I kind of somewhat strategically say this in Proverbs 5 because Proverbs 5 we talk a lot about adultery and sex. And I know sometimes there tends to be a double standard with these things. And I just want you to know that, the field is level in the book of Proverbs. So again, all of this advice, all of this stuff is for men and women alike. And Proverbs 5, again, in the first section, which is verses 1 through 14, this is a call to, it's a warning against adultery. It's a warning against bad behavior. And then in the second section, 15 to 23, this is an encouragement for good behavior. So let's take a look at the first section. It starts out by saying, "My son, be attentive to my wisdom, incline your ear to my understanding." We've seen this before. This is basically the father's way of saying, hey, son, listen up, pay attention to what I'm saying. For whatever reason, you have to tell kids multiple times to listen, to pay attention. You have to repeat yourself. It just seems like it doesn't come naturally sometimes. I think some parents can attest to this. I wasn't like that, but my brothers were, and I know a bunch of other people are, so it is what it is. We'll keep seeing that call. In verse 3, we see, "For the lips of a forbidden woman drip honey, and their speech is smoother than oil." And it's what that is. It's sexy talk, is what it is. It's talk that would make the Hebrew boys and girls blush. It's something that they might be passing around the schoolyard and snickering as they read it. But it's meant to be sensual. That's the picture that the father's painting here. He's basically telling the son, say, hey, there may come a time when you're going to be faced with this temptation, and it's going to look appealing, with this woman dripping with honey, which, again, this is poetry. It's Hebrew poetry. She's not literally dripping with honey because that's a sticky mess. But the father's saying, this is going to look appealing. It's going to look sweet. But he comes back in verse 4 to say, but in the end, she is bitter as wormwood, sharp as a two-edged sword. So again, it looks enticing, but it's actually going to be bitter and it could be deadly. And the show Snapped, I think, attests to that fact. I'm not sure if it's still on anymore. But we move down to verse 8, and it says, "Keep your way far from her, and do not go near the door of her house." And the idea here is, this door of temptation, which is really easy to go in, but it's hard to get back out. And the father is saying, if you come to this door, get away. Get away. Don't go in the door. If you see it, back up and get home as quickly as possible, because the consequences of entering this door, they're dire. And he talks about these consequences in verses 9 through 14. And that's not an exhaustive list by any means, but the consequences of committing adultery, they're dark. There could be a lot of heartbreak. There could be, ruined families and things of that nature. So avoid that. If you see that door, keep on walking or get home as quickly as possible. And so in the second section here, this section, again, this is a call for good behavior. So we move from the warning against adultery to we move now to this encouragement for good behavior. And in verse 15, it says, "Drink water from your own cistern, flowing water from your own well." And what this is saying is basically, why go out for burgers when you got steak at home? And really, verses 15 to 23, this is all about being love drunk, quite honestly. And if you're not familiar with that term, it basically refers to within your marriage just being so intoxicated with your spouse and thoughts of them, and just being around them. You just love to be around them. It's almost like they're addicting, which is a good thing, because that's what love and that's what marriage is supposed to be. It's not supposed to be stagnant and you get bored of them and you're like, I can't stand to be around them. No, it's meant to be lively and youthful, and that's what the book Song of Songs, or some Bibles will have Song of Solomon, which is it's a couple books that way. That's what that's all about. It's about celebrating love within the marriage. It's about celebrating sex within the marriage. The Bible is pro-sex within the male-female marriage. So if you didn't know that, now you do. It's a good thing. It's good for your marriage. So there's that. And so again, that's what the rest of this proverb is about. It's about the strongest offense against adultery is a strong defense, and by a strong defense, again, it's a strong and passionate sex life within your marriage. And then we kind of close out this proverb by saying, the iniquities of the wicked ensnare him, and he is held fast to the cords of his sin. He dies for lack of discipline, and because of his great folly, he is led astray. Don't be led astray. Don't go down the path of folly. Rather, avoid adultery. Celebrate your marriage. Be intoxicated with your spouse, and consummate that marriage as often as you like. Read Proverbs 5, and thank me later.